Hey everyone, it's me, Matt. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing great, and I hope you're ready to garden with me today because in today's video, we're doing part one of a two-part series where we're going to completely overhaul a section of my backyard. We're going to add some raised metal beds, expanding the footprint of my vegetable garden area. So let's get into it. So for those of you that are new here, this is my existing vegetable garden area. I've currently got 4 different tomato varieties going. You can see they're all doing really great, and these plants are loaded with tomatoes. I've also got a bed of yellow onions to the right of my tomatoes, and another one just across the walkway. We planted these together about 6 or 7 weeks ago, and they finally started to put on some size. And then tucked away in the back corner, I've got my carrot bed. You can see they're all looking great with their beautiful green top growth. And then right here on the walkway, I've got my container of baby greens. I heavily seeded this container a few months ago, and I've recently started harvesting the young lettuce leaves to add to salads. You can also see I've got some in-ground pineapple plants planted on either side of my tomatoes, along with some nasturtiums, white alyssum flowers, and some little bitty baby basil plants behind my tomatoes that I started from seed. And then lastly, I've got a little banana grove planted over in this area. These are all dwarf Cavendish banana trees that I transplanted from a friend's house about a year and a half ago. Also, quick update, the Scaevola fan flowers that we transplanted back here from my front porch seasonal flower bed didn't make it. You can see they've completely fried. I had some hope for this one, but it died over the last couple of days too. Overall, I'd say I had a 50 to 60% success rate with the rest of the fan flowers that were transplanted out into my front landscape, so I'm still really happy about that. In any case, I've run out of room in my current vegetable garden area and I want more room to plant in, so let me show you how we're going to solve for that. So coming over to the other side of my back patio, I have this space between my walkway and my patio that I thought I could repurpose as a raised garden bed area. So you can see I've already got another onion bed just across the walkway, along with my more mature banana grove, so I figured why not just go all in and convert this whole area into more planting space. It also helps that the grass in this area already looks terrible. It's always struggled because this is one of the lower areas of my backyard and water tends to pool here when it rains, so I'm constantly dealing with fungal issues with the grass during Florida's hot, humid, and rainy summer months. So instead of continuing to battle the fungal pressure every summer, I figured I'd rip out what's left of the lawn, add a good layer of mulch, and then install some raised metal garden beds. So some quick stats on this space. This area is about 5 feet wide from the walkway to the patio, and it's roughly 12 feet deep from where I'm standing to the main lawn area toward the back. So it's a pretty big space, and I'm hoping to fit about 3 raised beds in here. So the first step for this raised bed renovation project is to dig out all the existing grass. If I can, I'm going to save some of the bigger pieces and transplant them out into my front lawn. I've got a few bare areas that I'd really like to fill in. I'm also going to dig up and save these plants. So these aren't weeds, they're actually volunteer Torenia flowers that self-seeded in the lawn. I figured I'd transplant them temporarily into some containers and then maybe use them somewhere out in my front and back landscapes. Maybe I'll replace some of the dead Scaevola fan flowers in my existing vegetable garden area with some of these Torenias, or I could even use them as accent plants in this new raised garden bed area. In any case, let's get to work clearing out this space. All right, the first step is all done. You can see we're working with a completely blank slate. So I was able to save pretty much all of the Torenia plants. I did give them a bit of a haircut off camera. This will allow them to focus more of their energy toward root development since they're probably a little stressed from being transplanted. And then I'm also really happy that I was able to save and transplant some of the grass pieces into my front lawn too. Hopefully these plugs will spread and fill in these areas. So moving on to step 2 with today's project, let's lay down some cardboard and spread some mulch. So really quick, this is the cardboard I'm going to use. I actually found it at the curb at my neighbor's house a few days ago, and what perfect timing. I needed a ton of cardboard for this project, so I grabbed all of it and brought it back to my house. So laying the cardboard and mulch over the dirt will help with weed suppression. It'll help stop new weeds from germinating and any of the old grass from growing back. So this process should be pretty simple. I've already prepped all the cardboard by removing the old packing tape. So let's lay down the cardboard, then I'm going to use my hose to get it wet to help sort of lock it in place, and then we'll cover the entire area with pine bark mulch. So let's get to it. So there we go, step 2 is all done. This space is looking better already. This area is now all prepped for my new raised garden beds. So these are my new raised beds. These beds are made out of 1 mm thick galvanized steel. They're also powder coated so they won't rust or corrode. You can see they've got open bottoms allowing for easy drainage, along with a rolled metal lip at the top so there's no sharp edges. These beds were also really easy to assemble. You can do it with a hand screwdriver, but I highly suggest using a power drill. The power drill speeds up the process quite a bit. From start to finish, each bed only took about 15 to 20 minutes to put together. So talking through the dimensions really quick, the 2 taller, more oblong beds are 2 feet wide, 4 feet long, and 1.5 feet tall. And then these 2 circular ones are a foot tall with a diameter of 2 feet across. Also, you can see the larger beds have cross bracing that gives them a more rigid structure. So far, I'm really impressed with them. The quality is great, and I absolutely love the way they look. So as far as pricing, I actually bought these raised beds off Amazon, and they were really reasonably priced. The 2 larger ones were about $38 each, and the smaller circular ones came as a set of 2 for about $40. So they're all a really great value, and I'll definitely make sure to link them in the video description for reference. So as far as placement, I'm placing the 2 taller oblong beds along with one of the circular beds in my new raised garden bed area, and then I'm placing the second circular bed over near my fire pit area. So now the new beds are all placed, and I'm really loving the way they look in this space. This area is really transforming into something beautiful. Looking over at my fire pit area, I also really love that I was able to use the second circular bed in this space. If we look from behind my Adirondack chairs back toward my house, you can see how incorporating the beds in both spaces really ties the 2 areas together. Also, I want to address the flowers planted around my fire pit. So we just redid this space together about 6 weeks ago, and these plants have struggled, not because they're not getting enough sunlight or water, but because they're constantly getting dug up at night by 2 visiting raccoons. Literally 2, sometimes 3 times a week, I come out here in the morning and they're all ripped out of the ground. You can even see the raccoons' little muddy footprints are all over my Adirondack chairs. So earlier this year, I was seeing a lot of worm castings in the mulch in this area, so I'm pretty sure the raccoons are digging for worms. It's just been such a battle these last few weeks. These flowers are under so much stress from all the root disturbance. So in order to try to keep them away, I've been sprinkling Repelzol and even cayenne pepper around all these plant groupings, and it sort of helped, but I still see them back here at night sometimes. When they set off my motion lights, I run out here and I try to scare them off. So, anyways, I wanted to share that little update. It's not always garden wins here in my garden, but please let me know down in the comments if you've dealt with raccoons in the past and if you've got any remedies for keeping them away from your plants. So, moving back to today's project, the next step in the process is to fill these beds with soil. I'm also going to run some 1/2-inch black poly tubing up through the bottom of the beds in the event I want to tie them into my drip irrigation system. Running the tubing now will make it way easier to seamlessly add drip emitters in the future. So looking at the soil I picked up, I've got some cheaper Ace brand topsoil and then some higher quality Miracle-Gro garden soil. If you use Miracle-Gro garden soil, they recommend mixing it 50-50 with either topsoil or native soil when used in raised beds. So that's what we're going to do. So let's first run the black poly tubing and then we'll start filling up these garden beds. All right, we're all done with this raised garden bed renovation project. I'm so thrilled with how this space looks. It's a complete 180 from what it looked like earlier today. All that bare patchy grass is gone. This space has been completely transformed, giving me a ton of new planting areas. I'm also really happy with not only the look, but also the expected long-term durability of these beds. I thought about getting wooden ones, but quickly decided not to because of all the rain and humidity we get here in Florida. I think these galvanized steel beds will last a lot longer than any wooden option. And then really quick, I wanted to mention I didn't use all my soil. I've got a few bags left, which I sort of expected. Some soil settling will likely occur in the raised beds over the next week or so, so I'll save these and top them off if needed. So make sure to come back next week for part 2 where we're going to plant up my new raised beds. Hopefully this video's inspired you to transform an area of your garden. If you haven't already done so, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons so you can hang out with me in future videos. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.